So this is a heart, and this is an ECG. But what is an ECG? An ECG is a visual representation of how your heart is contracting. So we can see it without having to see the heart. Okay, let's orient ourselves first. So you've got the heart, and you've got the left side of the heart and the right side of the heart. Now I appreciate if you're looking at the whiteboard, this is the left side and this is the right side, but you have to imagine that someone has ripped out a heart and swooshed it onto a piece of paper. So almost like the patient is lying on the piece of paper themselves. So even though you're looking at the left side of the whiteboard, actually the left side of the person, the dog, whatever, is here. So you've got the left side and the right side. You have 4 chambers to the heart. You have the 2 atria in blue. So you have a left atrium and a right atrium. And you've got the 2 ventricles in green, a left ventricle and a right ventricle. But how does this heart and its contractions translate to this visual representation here? Well, very simply, when the atria contract, this is represented by this little wave here, and this is called the P wave. Then, when the ventricles contract and splurge blood, the right ventricle splurges blood into the lungs, the left ventricle splurges blood around the rest of the body. When that contracts, woof, and it does that, this is represented by this spiky triangle. Now this is made up of 3 waves. This is your Q wave, your R wave, QR, and your S wave. So we say that the contraction of the ventricles is represented by the QRS complex. And then finally, this last little bump here is when the ventricles relax and they fill with blood, ready to complete the cycle again. And this is called the T wave. Okay, now, what some of you might be thinking, potentially, is, well, we've said that we're contracting the atria, and that's the P wave. We've contracted the ventricles, and that's our QRS complex, and we've relaxed and refilled the ventricles, which is our T wave. But what about the relaxation and refilling of the atria? Well, it happens, but you can't see it. It happens at the same time as the QRS complex, but because the QRS complex is a contraction and it's big and it's powerful, it masks, it hides, it makes the refilling of the atria invisible. So it is happening, it's happening underneath this wave, but we can't see it in our visual representation. The last thing I would say with this overview is that you'll hear the words depolarization and repolarization when they're talking about the waves. And this is because your heart, it's an electrical system. An electrical event is happening that causes the contractions and causes the relaxation and refilling. So what the ECG is actually reading is these electrical events. And so the depolarization of the atria results in a contraction. So you can largely use the word depolarize synonymously with contraction, depolarize synonymously with contraction, and repolarize synonymously with relaxation and the refilling. Technically, what happens is the heart depolarizes, which is what you're seeing, and then a contraction occurs. The ventricles depolarize, and then the contraction occurs. The ventricles repolarize, and then they can relax and they can fill with blood. But largely they're synonymous.